I don't know how to start this, really. Well, suppose I can start at the beginning. Nowhere else is appropriate, I suppose. Greetings and salutations. My name, or at least my name was, Artemis. I was a radio host. That's really all I knew how to do. I knew how to talk into a microphone, that's about it. One day, I find myself washed ashore. I don't even remember getting on a plane, or a boat, or anywhere near the ocean. But, well, there I was, in the ocean. Or rather, next to it, lying on a beach, the waves splashing me conscious. There's a strange throbbing in my arm, and I look, it's a diamond. Not a diamond, the crystal, more a shape, black, and with a orange, almost neon orange, well, diamond, following its contours, embedded in my arm. I can see beneath my own skin where it's been pushed in or thrust in. I don't know the rest of its shape, to be honest. I can tell you at the time I clawed at it, I didn't want it there. It's not a part of me. It's not a part of my body. It's breaching that sanctity, but at the same time, it told me to stop. Told me that if I left it in, everything would be all right. It would look after me, help me survive, that I was on the Ark. I have no idea what any of that means. But that's what it said. And so here I am, a radio host, trapped on an island which I very, very rapidly discovered was covered with dinosaurs. Dinosaurs that, well, to my knowledge, were all extinct. Sure, I've seen the Jurassic Park movies. I know that theoretically you could have clones, or even you could have an island lost to time. Doesn't that sound romantic? Well, it isn't. Waking up naked on a beach, not knowing anything about anything, and just scrabbling to survive against more or less monsters. Although they're not really. Most of them are actually quite friendly, or at least indifferent. Although you've got to watch out for the sharks. You definitely have to watch out for the sharks. And so, it's been a few weeks now. I don't see myself going anywhere. The more I do, the more the diamond tells me, whispering in my ear or in my mind, something. The more it tells me that I can do more, I can learn to do more things, I can build, I can create things that I never knew how it worked. But I'm figuring it out. All the diamonds teaching me, this all seems crazy. Maybe it's just a dream of mine, but it is what it is. So, here I am, and I've thought, might as well put my old skills to use. Built myself a shack on the beach. I managed to get the radio working. Found bits of it along the beach. Kinda just wandered round until I had enough to build it, or could jury-rig the rest from scratch. And with the help of a few tribes, I've gathered some more valuable equipment, some circuitry and things. Obviously, I couldn't do this all on my own. But I thought I'd get something of a radio station started. See if I can talk to the rest of the tribes on the island. See if together we can figure out what's going on, or at least make things make sense. Have a world where we're not all violently at the mercy of each other. It's a bit of a dream, I know, but here I am. Suppose there's nothing else to do then but run an ordinary radio show. So, how about we cut to news? Yeah, let's talk about news. We've got plenty of that. Now, news in this world is very different. It's not traffic, weather, politics, although weather is relevant, I suppose. Dinosaur migrations never were a big article in the past, but I think we can do something with this. As you all may know, if you're familiar with this area, with this island, the tribe call themselves Funk Volume. Lord knows why. There's no funk on this island. No one even knows how to hold a decent beat. Well, they were a powerful group. Many members, very, very strong. You almost couldn't get away from them. They were always around, always doing something. Powerful and dangerous, with even the mighty T-Rex tamed and subdued beneath them. They rode around the island like terrors. A reign of terror it was. That was Funk Volume. I myself and some of my fellow tribe mates, well, we had a run-in with them. It wasn't pleasant, let me tell you. We lost a great many dinosaurs, a powerful ankylosaurus. We even lost our most prized and original dinosaurs, our Triceratops. It was devastating. Men and women died that day. We hurt them not just as hard, but we hurt them back. An eagle was slain in the conflict. was not our eagle. Those vast birds managed to shoot one of them down before I myself was stabbed through the chest with a spear. Only recently recovered. And we did manage to escape with one of our tribe members on a saber-toothed tiger. So at least there's that. We didn't lose everything. And they did lose a brontosaurus, so damage was done. But we lost our mining camp in the mountains. That was unfortunate. And Funk Volume proceeded to continue to terrorize everything. Little did they know, during the night while they were slaughtering us, a larger, more dangerous tribe. They've never kept the same name, but their leader has, a man named Cobra. Well, Cobra decided enough was enough. It was time to end the reign of terror brought down by Funk Volume. He and his tribe mates, deep in the night, rained arrows endlessly through those dark hours when Funk Volume was away doing battle with the weak and the downcast, the downtrodden and defeated. Nearly their entire herd, multiple T-Rexes, many eagles, saber-toothed tigers, Carnotaurus, everything that Funk Volume had was at the mercy, because, well, if you wall something in a pen, it can't get out of the pen to defend itself. Funk Volume was brought low, and over the days that followed, Cobra and his men proceeded to hunt them down all across the island. I haven't seen a Funk Volume tribe member in weeks. They're long gone, defeated. I believe they've long since built a raft and left the island in pursuit of safer territories. I can't say for sure, but I'm not sorry that they're gone. Those men and women, they were monsters. As dangerous as the wild T-Rex, they just destroyed and plundered where they could. Houses and tribes were regularly wiped off the island thanks to their efforts. But they're gone now, and we thought we were heading into an age of peace and prosperity. We thought wrong. Unfortunately, Cobra and his men, well, they weren't quite the heroes we wanted them to be. They weren't as devastating. They didn't have as many powerful dinosaurs. That said, not having a T-Rex isn't exactly a measure of goodness. They lived, turns out, in a mountaintop citadel, built almost entirely of the iron that they mined from the mountain around them. There was one path up, blocked by heavy gates. The only way in was on the back of one of the large eagles, or pteranodon. They knew this, and they proceeded to search the island, scouring it for any sort of base, any territory belonging to any other tribe. They didn't care. They flew above us all, and they killed anything that could fly. Anything they saw, if it was tamed, it was at their mercy. They wouldn't take everything. They wouldn't destroy everything. They left reasonable power in the hands of the tribes, but eagles and pteranodons, they take a long time to tame those creatures. They're very dear to the hearts of those, particularly like myself, who use them to fly and trade, to explore the island, rather than pursue violence. Let's also throw in the fact that Cobra and his men recently, and regularly, used explosive charges to breach the walls of many a compound, break into many tribes' fortress, and take everything that wasn't tied down. They were villains, and they were reasonably powerful. Sure, you got to keep most of your facility. There's just a hole in the wall now, and you know that you'll never be safe because they can just make another hole. You know that any supplies that you've gathered over weeks are now in the hands of someone who's only going to use them to terrorize you further. It was unpleasant. I must admit, I myself forged something of a peace treaty with them. I had always spoken for the defeat of FV in the past, always been outspoken with every tribe that I met that FV should be brought down, and I advocated Cobra's position when they did. I even joined them on a raid. This isn't something I'm proud of. I may have killed a man that I did not want to kill. But in the interest of keeping myself defended from a terrifying force, I will play all the sides. It's simply the way it is, and I think that, hopefully, some of you can forgive me for what I've done. And I have paid recompense, because there is some justice in the world. Cobra has been laid low. I can say this as of 3 days ago, maybe 4, maybe 5. But Cobra has been defeated once and for all. They have gotten on their eagles and flown from the island. I know not where they've gone. They did invite me to join them, but I'm quite comfortable here. but Cobra and his men have left for safer areas, it seems. Whilst they did like raining terror upon the weaker tribes, or generally they claim the stronger tribes that could take it, while they did enjoy that, they didn't enjoy when wrath was brought down upon them. Rocket launchers. Eagles and rocket launchers in the night. I know not who made the attack. I believe the tribe of Alcatraz was mentioned, but I cannot confirm these reports. All I know is that in the dead of night, men on eagles wielding rocket launchers demolished apparently everything. Cobra's facility in the mountains was reduced to near rubble. Cobra have even gone so far as to claim that the administrator, a man of godlike powers who roams the island relatively friendlily, but wielding strange materials and the ability to call dinosaurs out of the woods to his aid. We worship him as a god sometimes. He has gifted these men with their tools, that the fire that destroyed Cobra's facility was blessed with divine might. I don't know if it's true. I honestly don't. But all I can say is that, for a time at least, there has not been great violence. The island is largely free. Large tribes still roam, and many of them kill on sight, but I haven't heard of any bases raided or destroyed in the night. I haven't heard of any tribes seeking to flee the island, hoping that somewhere out there safety exists. It seems everyone's on reasonably good terms. Strange coincidence, then, that the day that everything returns to peace, or enters what I hope to be a golden age of peace and trade and prosperity, that the dolphins flocked to the island. I've spoken to a man who claims to have been a researcher of animals of some kind. A man who is something of a paleontologist, at least a hobbyist paleontologist. He tells me that they're not indeed dolphins, that the creature that I see frolicking in the waves beside the megalodons, or actually generally fleeing in terror from the megalodons, but the friendly dolphins are indeed a creature called the ichthyosaurus. The ichthyosaurus was a sea-dwelling reptile. It's not actually a fish, and certainly not a mammal to be a dolphin, but a reptile that dwells in the oceans, breathes with gills, and is generally carnivorous. However, I know for a fact, I can confirm this myself, they're quite a curious creature. They'll eat right out of your hand, and can very quickly be tamed. Wander into the coast, into the waters, with enough meat to feed one for most of the day, and you'll find that it likes you. It'll hang around and listen to what you say. Of course, one must be careful when attempting this. While the ichthyosaurus is friendly, sometimes it just decides to leave. Other times, you'll find that megalodons decide to join you where you are, and either you or your new friend could very, very quickly be eaten. But with this new creature diving through the waves, well, I have little doubt that more tribes will seek to plunder the precious bounties of oil and silicon, the silica pearls of the depths. These items are valuable for trade, and, well, there are caves. I've seen the caves myself, filled with treasures, oil and pearls beyond your wildest imaginings. I couldn't carry out all that I took. I have little doubt in my mind that these areas will be plundered quickly, but there'll be enough supplies. It's just there'll be more conflict over these things. But their ease to tame means that new refugees for the island, new survivors will be able to breach these depths without having to try and tame one of the mighty megalodons. So there is good news. I've also heard unconfirmed reports that a creature known as the plesiosaurus is out there. I don't know whether there's one or many, but it reminds me of the myths of the Loch Ness Monster from back home. A large, rounded creature diving through the ocean, 4 limbs like a horse, but, well, they're flippers, so they're not limbs like a horse at all, really, and a long neck. They eat the fish of the waters, and generally don't fight the megalodons, is what I've heard. I believe that they're out there somewhere, and potentially could be tamed. Large enough to build a house on the back, is the rumor I've heard, but I cannot confirm it for myself. My rides on the ichthyosaurus, known as Greg, well, they did not yield me any results in searching for this creature. In other news, there was another tribe that's worth mentioning that are likely to be lost, although I don't yet know. I've not gone to take a look. A man known as St. Clair. I don't know where he found the divine power, but he managed to build himself a home under the ocean. I don't mean underneath the waters or underneath the waves. I mean completely underneath the ocean. It was above his head, and yet he was dry and breathing. I don't know how. I don't really know why. Seems an odd choice of a location, although it is reasonably well defended, as the oceans are teeming with sharks that would like to devour me whole. Seems fairly reasonable that taking many of the dinosaurs typically used in raids, or say the pteranodon or the eagle, they wouldn't be able to breach the sanctity of his new location. And I definitely say sanctity, as I have little doubt that divine powers were employed. I have little doubt of the divine powers that followed too, however. That administrator, as we call him, that tribal figure, that ruler of men and mountain and monster, he who would build inside an active volcano and live there, well, he didn't like this. He didn't like the implementation of further divine power. He descended through the waters to see the people who lived there, and there was more than one. And he called the mighty Brontosaurus and laid that place to waste. That town or village or building, I know not which, was completely destroyed at the hands of the administrator. Whether or not this is a good thing, whether or not St. Clair would have used the facility for good and not as a safe haven for which to raid, I have no idea. I simply don't know. But the administrator put his foot down. The administrator decided what was right and took the power from St. Clair. I believe St. Clair will leave the island. I don't think he'll feel welcome with a force as powerful as our administrator around. But then again, I couldn't say. Well, the dinosaurs need feeding, the Ichthyosaurus needs taming, and someone has to go out there and find that Plesiosaurus. That someone is me. I won't confirm the reports of its existence, until I have seen it out there. Thank you all for listening. This was Ark Radio, and I will be back in a week or two with further updates. Good night.